Good evening, people. Welcome back to the show. I've got a smile on my face for one reason. Tottenham Hotspur. It is the history of the Tottenham.
Yeah.
They are absolutely shocking. What an embarrassing club. A circus, a joke, absolutely embarrassment. I don't know what else other words to say.
They've just put me in the bottom three, Dan. They've just put Leeds in the bottom three.
I was just going to say this. I might be happy and laughing because it doesn't actually mean much to my club. It just makes it funny. But Ash, Dave, and Joe are probably sitting there thinking, bollocks. I didn't need that for my club. But you can still sit there and laugh because Tottenham fans do try to shoehorn themselves in Big Six conversations and European absolute class of a club. And then they look at that and you think, wow. And I must say this. I walked in. I didn't see the game tonight. I walked in and I was told that apparently Everton had 10 men. Well, you wouldn't have known it from what I saw because they were all over them. And that is a shambles as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, big up Ash, big up Dave, big up Joe. There's going to be some of you, or probably all of you, that are a little bit down in the dumps at the moment because don't quite know what's happening with your clubs. And all three of you are probably in a bit of a squeaky bum time with 9 games to go. What's going to happen? Who knows? I have to say this.
Mate, we've got an easy 3 points tomorrow, so don't worry about it.
Well, we'll get into that.
Hang on a minute. If he's going to get like that.
Love it, Dave.
I've got my Wayman protectors on, look.
Before we go into your 3 clubs, because
I knew he'd start.
I'm sure you need a break from him. Ash definitely does. Can we just take a minute to laugh at Tottenham Hotspur's results? That was an absolute shambles. Joe, let's start with you. You did a watch along, apparently, buddy. So,
yes.
Talk to me, man. Talk to me.
Yeah, man. Honestly, I don't understand it. Like they went down to 10 men and then got worse. Like it just didn't make sense. But do you know what? As well, like Spurs now, surely they're not going to get top 4, bro, because nothing's changed from the Conte era. Like, I know obviously Stellini's his number 2, etc. But you're expecting a little bit of an upturn. But there was none of that. And if anything, it's exactly what Conte said about the weak mentality and stuff. They've gone 1-0 up. And then down to 10 men, it's like, oh, easy game. But nah, not the Spursy way, is it? And I mean, when he brought Sanchez on for Longley, Davison Sanchez is arguably the worst centre-back I've ever seen. He's terrible. Son again didn't turn up. They were rubbish, mate. And then, it was only going to go one way, like, which is mad when you consider, like, they were 1-0 up. But Everton, Monday night, Goodison Park, etc., yeah, they're going to stay up out there. Dyche will keep them up. So,
well, I've always thought that. I thought Lampard was taking them down, and I thought Dyche was going to keep them up. And they are actually, it's not a great footballing side. They've not got great players. You look at them on paper and think they should be heading for the drop, but actually Dyche just has that factor, don't he? And when Calvert-Lewin comes back, they might even have more chance of actually scoring some goals because if Michael Keane's going to have to do that every game, they might actually go down. So, listen, it's funny because Tottenham are absolutely embarrassing. But at the same time, Everton, massive point after what has happened this weekend. I'm not going to start with Joe or Dave. I am going to start with Ash because I can't really not start anywhere else.
Right in the firing line, Ash.
Right in the firing line. Ashley, you've said it for 2 weeks, Ash. I can't lie.
Yeah,
that you thought Rodgers' time was probably up, and it looks like they've listened to you, mate. He's gone. Now, yes. I didn't watch the game, mate. I only saw the result. I only saw the goals. Apparently, you were shocking from what I can understand. And I just wanted you to get your thoughts on the game and the news that he's now gone. And more importantly, what happens now? Who'd you get in? What do you do? Do you leave it till the summer? What's your thoughts as a Leicester City fan right now, man? It must be a string of emotions, Ash.
Yeah, well, I walked into Selhurst Park on Saturday with high hopes, thinking, Palace have probably brought the wrong man in, bringing back Hodgson, who'd been fired. And they played like Barcelona. They were absolutely shocking. I think they had 20 shots by half-time, 31 at the end. And Rodgers, in his post-match interview, said that we deserve something out of the game. And I was flabbergasted, honest to God. I've always been in Rodgers in, Dan. I really have. But like I say, the last 2-3 weeks, it's just unforgivable because I think they actually have looked effortless the last 2-3 weeks. None of the players other than Pereira have wished him well, which silence speaks to me that there was probably a lot going on behind the scenes.
Wow, that is mad.
Is the only player to have released any kind of statement, and it's the most brief statement you'll ever see. Thank you for the 4 years with 2 hands up, and that was it. We're in trouble, aren't we? That's the long and short of it. We're in trouble.
To be fair, Ash, you've always said it though. You've always thought you were. You've never said to me you think you're safe, you think it's fine. And I think a lot of people on this show have said Leicester ain't going down. I've got too much quality, but I don't know, boys. Before I bring you back in, Ash, like Dave, are Leicester in trouble because this don't look good to me, man?
Well, to be honest with you, Dan, I think there are 9 in trouble still.
Yeah.
Without being funny, what unites Ashley and Joe and myself tonight is the fact that we could have been helped and we didn't get helped, and I think it will go right to the last weekend. And I mean, Leicester, where I obviously see the context of Forest in the context of others, where I think we have a slight advantage, and only a slight advantage, is that we were the first team into this relegation battle when we won at Wembley last May. We were the favourites to go down. We were there. Everybody went, Forest will go straight up and straight back down again, right? So we knew we were in a relegation fight. But some of them, Palace have now got to adjust to a different mindset. They're in it when for a long time they thought they weren't in it. I think Leeds had a pretty good idea that they were going to be battling down there. But the likes of Leicester, West Ham, Wolves and Everton are really in a place that they never saw themselves being in. We knew we were going to be here. So we were adjusted to it. I think, lots of ours were thinking because we won the European Cup in 79 and 80, we're a big club. We're going to no. I was so pleased. Let's just find 3 that are worse than us and finish 17th. And like Ashley, a huge credit to Ash. He's never ducked it. He's always been honest. He's never been so partisan as to see, everything with blue spectacles. And I like to think I've been the same. But yeah, I'm in trouble, right? Joe's in trouble. Ashley's in trouble, little Dan's in trouble, Liam's in trouble. Those 9 at the bottom. I mean, the gap now between that 9, what with I think Villa winning at Chelsea at the weekend, the gap's something like 12 or 13. It's like kind of not the Premier League, but it's not the Championship. It's like this limbo division. Do you know what I mean? And where I think Leicester have the problem is that while you could never accuse Forest of being too good to go down, I think Leicester fall into that category and they have to deal with that. I mean, we got relegated in 1992, 93 under Cloughy, and everybody said we were too good to go down. And it ended up being a burden we couldn't carry. And I think for West Ham, Leicester, Wolves in particular, they were all seen as never being in this struggle. When we had our previews at the start of the season, the names of Nottingham Forest, Leeds United, Bournemouth, Southampton, and actually Everton to a certain extent, they were the 5 that people were talking about. Nobody mentioned Leicester City, nobody mentioned Wolverhampton Wanderers, nobody mentioned West Ham United, and certainly nobody mentioned Crystal Palace. So, but we're all still in it, and we'll be in it until we're either gone or we're not in it. You know what I mean? So.
Mate, it's going to be horrible. Next season, I'm going to lose a few people, and it's going to be sad. I can't even lie to you. I'm going to miss you.
I'm going to squat. I'm going to stay. I'm going to
squat. Joe, before I come back to Ash on this one, where's it gone wrong for Leicester and Rodgers for you? Because at the start of the summer, they had a real bad window, and everyone said, Leicester don't look great. They ain't really improved. Lost some players, don't look too good. Maddison and Tielemans look like they got there last year. What's going on? And Brendan Rodgers, I always thought, was probably going to do enough to give him at least half a decent season. But I'm kind of with Ash. I think he's kind of taken him as far as he can, man.
Yeah, I think it sounds mad, but I think he downed tools a little bit when he wasn't backed. I think, to sell Fofana and then not really replace and then let Schmeichel go and be left with Danny Ward, which, to be fair, Danny Ward for a period had a decent spell, but he's not a Premier League number 1.
No.
Number 2, fair enough, but he's not a Premier League number 1. And I almost felt earlier on in the season Rodgers wanted gone then, but he was never going to walk away from that, if you know what I mean. So it was a case of, well, I'll just stay in situ. obviously there's been a disconnect between him and the players, it would seem, as well. So it was only going to go one way. I think by sacking him, they've given themselves a chance. But like we've seen tonight with Spurs, and Leeds did it to a certain extent, trying to keep Skubala in charge. Whenever you do make a change and you just give it one of the coaches, it very rarely gets better. You need to actually say, right, okay, let's bring in a new man. And Leicester have got Villa midweek, and they've just got one of the coaches, I believe, Ash. So I just don't see much changing. I think they've got a top quality squad. Like, if any team goes down, maybe West Ham aside, I'm looking at it saying their squad would be absolutely like pilfered. Everyone would be after their players because they've got some top players. You could argue some of the other squads, maybe Leeds, maybe Forest, even Palace to an extent. I don't think have an amazing squad, where people would go, I'll have him in. But at Leicester, they do have that. So it all depends on if Rodgers was really the only problem there. But I think I remember speaking to someone and them saying, like, I think COVID hit the Leicester owners hard because they work in duty free. Is it, Ash? Something like that?
True. Yeah.
So their owners, obviously, during COVID, were not getting a lot of money because no one was bloody flying. So therefore, that's hit them, which means they've not been able to invest in the squad as they had done previously. And I think with Rodgers, he's the type of manager that wants money. Do you know what I mean? I want to be able to regenerate the squad season after season after season. And this season, he ain't got that. And that's why they are where they are. And you just got to hope that Maddison can pull them through. He's the ace in the pack. And if not, then they go down. And if they go down, Nash, you might not see them back for a while. It's one of them,
Yeah, because I genuinely think we'd lose too many players.
Yeah,
and it would be not only a rebuild, but you'd have to rebuild to players that want to go to a championship club. My biggest fear is that. But all I can hope is that this sounds really bad. I hope that it was something behind the scenes now, and they start playing to win again, and because the effort had gone out of them. That was my fear. That was my.
Mate, it's not good. This is a comment, Ash, I was going to put to you from Philly, which I think is bang on. I don't see where Leicester go from here. After this season, Tielemans and Maddison will be gone. Vardy is about to retire. Drewsbury, Hall and Barnes may leave. I don't see what happens. Now, I think if you stay up, you keep Drewsbury, Hall and Barnes. But I think Maddison and Tielemans are probably going to go, and Vardy's at his time, let's be fair. They're not your only players in the squad. You've actually got some good players as well. It's more about where you go from the top. And I think you've always been a well-run club. Your ownership have always done what I believe to be the right thing for the club. And we're seeing now with Brendan Rodgers, this will be, for me, one of the most important pieces of business with the next appointment in Leicester's history, mate, because you, as a club, have just about, over the last few years, put yourself in a respectable position where everybody looks at Leicester City as an absolute given for the Premier League. And what are they going to do? They're not going to come anything below sort of 8th. They're going to be hopefully up there. And within this season, that's just not been the case. So I wanted to ask you, we've seen a lot of people saying, oh, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. Manager swaps, managers roundabout. We've seen Potter go now. We've seen Pochettino still about. Conte's gone. And then, of course, the Vieiras and Gerrards and Lampards and all that have gone previously. What do you think will happen? And what would you like to see this ownership do, Ash, is my question.
Top's on the way over to the UK now, and Sky were reporting earlier that's to look at a manager, whether it be an interim till the end of the season, and sit down and look at probably someone we can build a project with in the summer. But what I think will happen, and the strong noises that I've heard, obviously everybody jumped on the Potter thing, and TalkSport incorrectly shared a status earlier saying that would approach Potter already, and Sky have corrected that already, saying he's not been approached yet. Okay. But I think we'll get Benitez. I think we'll end up with Rafa Benitez.
What do you reckon to that?
Me, I'd be happy. I'll get behind any manager that's going to come in and have a go. I think this is not me bashing Everton, but he wasn't wanted before he got the job there.
Agreed.
He wasn't really given a fair crack at the whip. He done all right at Newcastle. He got on playing some good stuff, and before all they were taken over and they've got all this ambition, they would have took him back in a heartbeat over people like Steve Bruce, and But I'd be happy with that appointment. I think if Benitez comes in steadies the ship, keeps us up, and he gets a bit of money in the summer, because we have got a rebuild job on our hands. You're right, Dan. We are losing Maddison and we are going to lose Tielemans, but it's how we replace these, which Leicester historically have been quite good at replacing players that have gone. But that's been the issue. I need to stay away from Southampton's leftovers.
Well,
that's the truth.
I mean, it is the truth. Rafa Benitez, let's just talk on that quick, man. I'll give my honest opinion. I think he's a very underrated manager. And people laugh and they say he's washed up. He's completely washed up. Look what he did at Everton. Look what he did everywhere else. He managed to get Newcastle up from the Championship and staying in the league with a terrible side, by the way. But it's not the Newcastle of now. That was a shocking side they had.
Very average.
Very average. Brilliant with Valencia. Brilliant with Liverpool. Good with Real Madrid. For me, I think when he went to Everton, the fans were like, what? What we got him for? We don't want him. Get him out. Yeah. Never going to get behind him. And he started, people won't remember this, last season, they were 5th at one stage. Now, they were flying with a side, let's be honest, we've just seen tonight, not that great, if I'm honest. And it went to pot for him. It went absolutely to pot. But I really don't think that would be a bad appointment, Ash. I really don't. I think he could get you the experience that you need. He can big you up with what you need, give you a boost, and he'll give you a style of play which you will at least be able to watch and find, you can be able to get through it. And then you go again in the summer and see what he can do. I think Rafa Benitez would like another chance. I don't think he wants to end his career the way it did at Everton. And I think you could do a hell of a lot worse. Now, Graham Potter would probably be one of your choices, I imagine. I don't know, I'm speaking for you here, Ash. I imagine you'd like to see somebody like that come in. I'm not so sure Pochettino would maybe that's just a bit too above what you're looking for. You might disagree, Ash. But I think Rafa Benitez coming in would actually be not a bad appointment, Ash, if I'm honest.
Yeah, to be honest, I think he'd come and he'd steady the ship. He's a name, isn't he? And like you say, he's done well everywhere else he's been. He wasn't wanted at Everton, and I think he felt that from the start. It just wasn't a good match, was it? Let's face it. He's a red in that part of the country, and that's fact. So, but yeah, I'd be over the moon with Benitez. Beggars can't be choosers, and he's still a highly rated manager. So I'd be very happy with getting him in and seeing what he could do. Give the guy a chance. There's a few names that have popped up that I'd like to stay away from. Marsh being one of them, unfortunately.
Joe's ready for that.
Brilliant, man. Game in.
Yeah, we just need to get a manager in that I think will sort of have a calm head on his shoulders and get the players working again. I think that's the issue with Leicester City at the minute. The players are not playing, and they weren't playing for the manager. We've got 2 games here, which literally, we could have 6 points. Very true.
Big up, Steve. That's quality.
Brilliant, Steve.
My adventure, if we got that appointment, would probably be a QPR and Luton next year. but yeah. Where was I? Yeah, so I think just get a manager in that the players are going to believe in. It's evident, it's always been the case at Leicester City that we've got quite a strong dressing room in terms of characters. When things went south for Ranieri, who was gone, unfortunately, these days, players can be bigger than the manager sometimes, can't they? And I think that's been the fact with a few managers. It happened with Puel. You've seen it on the pitch with Vardy sort of arguing with him when he was shaking players' hands. And I think the time has come for Rodgers as well, where he'd lost the dressing room completely. I've not seen Leicester City play as bad as they did on Saturday. I know the score was 2-1, but that flattered us. It could have been 4 or 5. And that is the God's honest truth.
Mate.
Yeah, so it's just hope now. But if we get a result tomorrow, they're going to take the time a little bit, aren't they, in making an appointment? But if we don't get a result, it's sort of emergency button, and you get somebody in that can try and change things around.
Oh man, I feel for you, man, because it's so good. Not long ago at Leicester, it was like, wow, this team are really up on the up. Winning that title 7 years ago now, was it? It was incredible. And then the FA Cups, and then Rodgers coming in, and you think, you know what, Leicester are actually all right now, and it just shows you how football can change so quickly. Actually, it really does. But
Yeah.
one last thing,
hmm
would a manager that is not proven in the Premier League be an option? And what I mean by that is a Michael Carrick, a Vincent Kompany, a Russell Martin, or is that just way too risky?
I mean, with our company's got Burnley playing, you'd take a chance, wouldn't you? Like, I watched them the other night, and I believe they drew, but some of the football they were playing was absolutely fantastic. It was glossy to watch, actually. It was nice to see Burnley playing like that. No, why not? Why not? If it Carrick again with Middlesbrough is doing a great job. We just need somebody that's going to get in and motivate them players, because I think I'm not really sort of blowing smoke up Leicester, but I think all of us can agree on this chat that we shouldn't really be in the position we're in terms of the squad we have. But the issue is we are, and that's the harsh reality of it. So we need somebody. If there are a good squad of players that are not playing to their potential, what's going to change it? And it can only be a manager or a tactic, or and
Postecoglou, Ash. Ange Postecoglou, I always think is a good. I mean, I know it's Celtic and it's like an amateur league, but I just think Ange Postecoglou's got something about him, and I think he'd be quite a good fit for Leicester.
Yeah.
Do you not think though? Someone like that, and I agree with you. I do think he'd be a good fit, and it's the same with Carrick Company and all these managers. It's too late in the day for them to be taking another job now. They would look at it and say it's too risky if I go there. Whereas if I see the season out, when jobs come available in the summer, I then might get a decent job.
I agree.
I think the only way you can go is, I don't know, you're looking at basement dweller managers, aren't you? You know what I mean? Firefighters, I know. I don't, someone of the ilk of a Allardyce or a Dyche. I'm not saying get Allardyce, but do you know what I mean? That kind of manager's gonna do now. I think I don't see someone like Company going, "Oh, I'm about to get promoted. I'll leave to go to Leicester with 10 games left."
We're coming back to Benitez, aren't we? Really?
Yeah, Benitez. Yeah, great shot. To be honest, I wanted Benitez at Leeds. I said either Benitez or Nuno. Nuno's over in Saudi Arabia. He could be an option. You know what I mean? I think they come in, they shoe you up defensively, and you get results. And Leicester have enough going forward to get results. So that's where I'd be looking. You know what I mean?
I think Rafa is looking like that could be a shout.
Good shout.
To be fair.
Yeah.
Joe, let's come to you, mate.
Man.
Obviously, Arsenal.
Rubbish, them, aren't they?
At the Emirates, they're not that great to watch, are they?
They were for half an hour, Joe.
Yeah, they were. True.
I spoke to you on WhatsApp, to be fair, after the game, and I think me and you were on the same page, really. Half hour, a little bit of squeaky bum time. I thought Somerville looked unplayable at times, mate. I can't lie. He looked great. And then after that goal, I don't know what Luke Ayling was even thinking, but he had a torrid time, bless him, against Martinelli.
Always does, doesn't he?
He does, mate. And then as soon as that penalty went in, it was only really one-way traffic, in my opinion. But how did you see it, man?
Yeah, no, exactly the same as you, mate. I thought I was really surprised with the lineup initially. No striker. He was clearly, he went with, at times, Dan, it looked like a back six. You had the two midfielders dropping in between the fullback and centre backs. And do you know what it is, though? It's, it's about points. It's not about style at this stage. And had we have held on to half time, you just never know. I still don't think we'd have kept you out because of how good you've been playing. But I think it was the right tactic to go, but like you say, Luke Ayling gave away a silly penalty, and then
do you think it was a penalty?
Oh yeah, man! I was telling people at the time I didn't understand it. People were telling me it's soft and all that, but if that's my striker, I want him to go down. You go down, you get the penalty. It's like tonight when people are saying Kane was soft. If someone pushes you in the face, you go down. You get them a red. It is what it is. It's the way the cookie crumbles. And it was a pen for me. Yes, might be soft, but it's a pen. But listen, I thought Somerville, like you said, he played really well. He could have had a chance to open up the score, and he should have probably done better. Ramsdale made a great save in the opening minutes from Christensen as well. So for 30 minutes we looked all right, but ultimately, we didn't have enough. And Arsenal. I mean, just on Ayling, obviously he came through the ranks at Arsenal before he moved to Yeovil, and I feel like that's in his head. because whenever he plays you, he has a stinker. Last season, he got sent off. He sived Martinelli down, basically nearly took his legs off. This season, again, he had a poor game. Martinelli did him far too easy for the Ben White goal. I mean, Jack Harrison looked at Ben White about 4 times. He went like that, and then he still managed to get in at the back post. And I was thinking, what were you doing? But yeah, look, it is what it is. I never expected anything. To be honest, mate, I went to bookies and had Saka first goal 3-1. But Saka didn't even. I thought if we're gonna get beat, I might as well try win some money getting beat. You know what I mean? So, but Saka didn't start. But it is what it is. But like prior to that, I think it was. I think now, mate, for Arsenal, what is it? 7 games on the spin, and in 6 of them, you've scored 3 or more. So a team that's struggling at the bottom of the table can't really expect anything. So it's all about this week for us, mate. We've got Forest and then Palace Sunday. So them 2 are massive, massive games.
Yeah, man, this is a good point from Grazie. I was resting the players for the Forest game, and I know we laugh and all that, but actually he might have a point, to be fair, because that's a big game, man. That's a massive game. But just sticking to this one quick, Joe, because I do think that there were parts of the game where Arsenal were absolutely dominant. But I look at the team. Leeds have got some injuries, man. They've got some injuries, and you miss Nonto when he's not there. You miss Tyler Adams, who I think is underrated and a workhorse. Max Wober as well, Wober, whatever they call him. You need them back, mate, if you wanna be getting results, don't you?
Yeah, 100%, mate. Grazie did his presser today. He said not much has changed in 2 days, but we might have some more options. So what does that mean? He's very candid. He keeps it close to his chest. But the fact he said we might have more options makes me think that, you know, 1 of them or 2 could be back. But Voba's the key. I know Nonto's amazing, but we've got Somerville, we've got Rutter, we've got Harrison, we've got Sinisterra, who managed to get 65 minutes out of. But at centre-back, when Voba's not there, we look so much weaker. So for me, as long as Max Voba's at the back, we'll be all right. And hopefully he's the one that's going to be back tomorrow. And Bamford and Rodrigo hopefully start up top. I think he's going to go for this one. He's been pretty defensive since he came in, but his presser, he was talking about we're going to have more of the ball. We're going to be expansive. So I think he's going to look at Forest, who have scored 4 goals away from home all season, who have 1 win away from home all
It's
season.
called lulling you into a false sense of security, David.
28 games worth. Do you know what, though, Dave? Forest have a great record against Leeds. I think we haven't lost
since 2017, Joe.
There you go. And even when we went and won the league that season in the Championship, you were the last team that beat us, if you remember.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
We do not have a great record against Forest. So I am a little bit worried about that side of it. And the last game that Forest won was Leeds. So, but you got Jesse the Sack.
It's all written here in my book.
You got Jesse the Sack, though, so for that I'll be forever grateful, Dave.
So you owe us one then.
Just got to watch Brennan Johnson, haven't we? We've just got to watch Brennan Johnson. He's the man.
Yeah,
he is, man. Yeah. Brennan is a top player, man. He's a top player. I can't lie. Dave, let's come to you, mate. I'm not gonna lie. I looked at the results and I hear Steve Cooper might get sacked if he don't win this, and it's like 1-0. Oh, okay, looks like he's staying. And then Wolves go and ruin the fun, and it's 1-1. First of all, let's forget about that game just for 1 second. Steve Cooper, really? 9 games to go, and you're going to get rid of him? Is that madness?
It's certainly the topic of discussion amongst our fan base at the moment, Dan. Mr. Marinakis, dear old Pavarotti, was in concert at the game on Saturday, bless him, walking around on the pitch singing Nessun Dorma with his hanky in his hand, and he sat in the press box. I think he's got a resting bitch face, so he didn't look very happy. And there is talk that he went into the dressing room beforehand and gave a stirring speech, apparently, and then he was in the dressing room afterwards. He went back in, and he wasn't very happy with some of the laughing and the joking that certain individuals did on the pitch after the game. He said, we should not be celebrating a draw, and I take his point, actually. But we think that there's more of a split now between Cooper in and Cooper out in our fan base. And, we think that the ice has got a little bit thinner. I think tomorrow night is the next step. It's a sequence of steps that you go along. If we were to win at Ellen Road tomorrow night, which I think would be our best result of the season, because tomorrow night you're going to have like 36,000 lunatics blasting away at us, right? And Leeds, I really like Leeds because Leeds are full of energy. Leeds, whatever you say about Leeds, whatever finesse they lack, whatever technical ability they lack, what Leeds never lack for is attitude and commitment and giving to their fans what their fans want. They will try their guts out. And if it's going to be an energy game tomorrow night, Leeds are going to be coming at it. So Forest have to deal with that. But I think if say Leeds win tomorrow night comfortably, which the form line suggests they should, because we're dreadful away from home. Do you know what I mean?
4 goals is bad, isn't it, Dave? Just 4 goals.
Honestly, it's an embarrassment, really, and it's a massive Achilles heel, and such a contrast to the home games where we're actually. I mean, Saturday. No disrespect to Little Dan, but we should have won on Saturday. Saturday was our best performance for 6. That was our best performance since we got a point against City. We had 17 shots at goal. Our defence looked great. Wolves really had a lot of the ball, but I'd be worried about Wolves because they don't really do a lot with the ball. I mean, they had 2 shots. I think one was a header by Niakate onto the bar when he was trying to clear it, and the other was the goal. Whereas if Forest were like snipers in the box and actually pulled the trigger, we scored very few goals from distance. But Forest go into the box and it seemed to me that like Dennis and Morgan and not so much Brennan, you can forget Brennan because Brennan's doing his bit, but some of the others, they get in the box and they faff around, just shoot them. There was a crucial moment in that game at 1-0 up and we were the better side, which I haven't had a chance really. It's great to be able to say that because we've not had a chance to do it for a while. Where Emmanuel Dennis goes into the box, if he squares to Morgan Gibbs White, it's 2-0.
Yeah.
And all of the conversations change. All of the discussions change. We don't talk about whether Steve's on a knife edge in his job. We at one point on Saturday afternoon, we were 12th. And it's my fault that we're not, because I looked at I was in an executive box on Saturday and I looked at the table at half time and I wish I'd not. So the reason Forest didn't win is Dave Asprey, right? Because I shouldn't have looked at my phone. So,
Dave, we were 12th after Wolves, 1 round of games, and we're now in 18th.
Yeah, and Joe, you've just summed up the world that me and you and Ash and Lawless and Liam and Sam Davies and all the lads we're all in at the moment. I mean, in a way, it's brilliant because there's something to play for every week. Yeah. But the way I look at Saturday was 2 dropped. Should have been 3. It was 2 dropped. They would be ecstatic with that point, having lost 4-2 to Leeds, and then going there and being outplayed. I mean, the goal they scored, there was a brilliant block, and it ran straight to Pedence, and he spat it in the back of the net. You know what I mean? So little play on words there, because Pedence should have been sent off. He spat at Brennan Johnson, right? So, but the way I look at it, there were a lot of positives came out of our performance. It was on Saturday. I think if we play like that for these remaining 10 games, then we could get something. Brennan was excellent. I mean, I didn't think Brennan would play. I thought he didn't play for Wales. I think Forest kept him away from Wales. Steve wanted to keep him for Saturday and then tomorrow night and then Villa Park on this coming Saturday. So Brennan played well. Emmanuel Dennis, if he could finish, he'd be brilliant, but he can't hit a cow's backside with a banjo. You know what I mean? Where I do feel, I thought Danilo was really good at midfield. We've got this guy Felipe at the back who signed from Atletico Madrid. Absolutely outstanding. He's the first guy with a ponytail I've ever liked. He was fantastic, right? and Keylor Navas at the back. I mean, Keylor Navas is a world-class goalkeeper, right? Based on what he's achieved in the game. So there's where we're also. I mean, injuries tomorrow night. I mean, if Nonto's out, then that's actually a plus for us. Because I thought at the City Ground, for 45 minutes, he was the most outstanding player on the pitch. Forest had to change everything they were doing to deal with little Nonto. He was fantastic. Tyler Adams is out. That's a blow for Leeds because I think he's excellent. I mean, there's so much I really like about Leeds, and I'm looking forward to going tomorrow night and sussing it out. Where we're slightly different is, okay, we've got Yatesy missing and we've got McKenna missing and Bolly, but Taiwo won. He played 20 minutes at the weekend, and I think he's going to be a handful if he plays. I think he might start instead of Dennis. And Cheku Kayati in the midfield came back as well, and he's a big presence. So it's tomorrow night.
What's that Danilo been like, Dave? What's that Danilo?
Do you know what? Do you know what, Dan? He's raw as anything. I really like it. He's a kid who's come from Sao Paulo. He's come from if I'm right in saying he's come from a pretty poor background. Poverty. The sort of kids playing football in shanty towns with like rags put together, right? But I think he's got something about him. I mean, he set Brennan's goal up with a beautiful ball, and Brennan then scored from an angle. It's a lovely goal.
Brazilian connection, and we were linked with him Arsenal were, and I thought, who's this kid then? And when he went to Forest out the blue, I thought, interesting, and I wanted to know how he was getting on. But he's got a long way to go. He's 21, and he's a young kid.
He's a babby in our parlance up this part of the world, Dan. He's a babby. I mean, he's already won the league with Palmeiras. He might have won a couple of Libertadores. So he's done really well in Brazil, like Scarp has. I think tomorrow night, I mean, he played against Leeds at the City Ground, and Leeds were too fast for him. It was all happening too quickly because Leeds are like a swarm of angry wasps. Honestly, what you do with Leeds, you've got to douse them with smoke to calm them down because Leeds are mental. They'll come at you like they're like a muck of nettles, aren't they, Leeds? And it was too much for Danilo. And I think tomorrow night, Steve will pull him out of that, and he'll put Kuyati in to try and deal with Leeds' energy and Leeds' frenzy. Do you know what I mean? But I think in maybe next year, a year to come, Danilo is going to be a real asset. I mean, late on in that game, he was our furthest man forward, and he likes to tackle. He's a bit unorthodox. I've got a lot of time for him, So there were plus points to come out of Saturday. I think if we play like that in the games remaining, it gives us a chance. But where I think we've got a chance is that everybody thinks that we're the ones who are the most vulnerable. Like, tomorrow night, Leeds should win. And Leeds have been targeting this one. Like everybody targets Forest at home. West Ham did it quite rightly. Leeds are thinking, we'll beat Forest. And I think that helps Forest because I think it puts more pressure. Leeds have to do their business tomorrow night. We can go there and get a point. If we get a point at Ellen Road, that's not a bad point, that there, because we know we're in for it tomorrow night. It's a real test. If Forest are to become the kind of Premier League team I want us to be, which is being realistic, Villa, Brighton, Brentford, Fulham, that kind of team, we have to go to places like tomorrow night's venue and stand up to the crowd, to the energy and the commitment of Leeds United, and we have to get something. I mean, to be honest, the worst case scenario tomorrow is for Leeds to score after 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
Yeah,
because then we're up against it. But where I come from, because I think life's perverse and you get bizarre things happening, our away record is such a theme, such a trend, and it's so in neon lights that everybody's talking about it. Sometimes you kind of think, we might get one out of the blue. But I mean, but tomorrow night we score early, then that's going to be really interesting in Ellen Road, I'll tell you. Say if Brennan, say it's Firpo and Brennan gets at Firpo and a ball's put behind Firpo and Brennan scores like he did at the weekend from a tight angle, just for example, and it goes like, say it's Leeds United 0, Nottingham Forest 1 after 5 or 10 minutes. Now that is going to be really interesting. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's absolutely massive, this game. Like, honestly,
Huge.
I keep flipping a coin between who's going down out of you two lads. I really do. It keeps changing all the time for me. Like, I was on the show with Joe the other day on his channel, and I'm like, it keeps changing. I think it might be Forest. And then I'm sitting there thinking, Forest have been a bit of a fight. Maybe it will be Leeds. And then Leeds will come back, and I go, actually, maybe it's. I think Southampton and Bournemouth, maybe I'm giving them too much discredit, but I just don't think they've got enough. So I think those two are down, and it's who's going to go down with them.
Dan, you say that, but and I'm like you, mate. The combination of 3 from the 9 keeps changing. I actually think Everton are the ones at the moment who look the safest of the 9.
It's crazy,
based on what I saw tonight. Imagine they were playing a team of pathetic, gutless non-entities tonight, right? That's what Tottenham Hotspur are. They'll never win a trophy as long as I've got a hole in my backside. So let's forget Tottenham Hotspur. But Bournemouth, I mean, talk about Jekyll and Hyde. All the Bournemouth people I know, and I know a lot of people who's fought Bournemouth because I lived there for so long, said at first half they were appalling, and yet second half they were brilliant. Gary O'Neill put Ryan Christie on, I think, and Marcus Tavernier, and they were brilliant, Bournemouth. And you know, and actually Fulham were there for the taking without Mitrovic. So, you know, you look at Bournemouth. I mean, really, the worst game of the weekend was the West Ham Southampton game. But you know, West Ham didn't play anything like as well as we did, and yet West Ham got the win, and we squandered ours. Do you know what I mean? So, the I mean, it could be Leicester. You know, I don't think it's going to be Palace now, but I think it could be Leicester. I mean, I don't know. It's we're still favourites, probably.
Actually,
but
I actually think Leicester, Palace, West Ham, and Wolves are all going to be fine. I just think
Everton?
I still don't think they're definite. I just don't think they got enough goals. And I think that with Leeds, Everton, and Forest, I keep changing my mind. Sorry, Leeds, Everton and Forest. I keep flipping the coin because I know Daichi's going to keep bloody Everton up. So I think it's between Forest and Leeds, man.
Do you know? I will say this, and I'm really, really confident of this. And you know, I think we get 6 points in the next two. I think we beat both Forest and Palace at home. I do, and I'm not trying to. I do. I think we're going to comfortably win tomorrow night.
Good timing, D.
Yeah, no, just in time. Wait. We're going to talk on Friday anyway, D. But I think we win comfortably tomorrow. I do. I've got 3-1.
That's good to hear. Thanks for that. I'll bear that in mind.
Yeah, don't worry. And then
I want Forest to. You see what he's doing, like they all do. It's only Forest. That takes no pressure on me. A lot of people have told me we're already down, so I'm strolling to the end of the season. Don't worry about me.
Mate, do you know what? I've not even put it into my psyche about a loss because I don't know what a loss against Forest at home would do. Like genuinely, at that point, I think I'd go I think we're going down. I think we're going down. Not because, like, if it was at the City ground, I feel like I'm being disrespectful. And I said this in my preview, but it's just your form. You've scored 4 goals away from home. You have won one game. It's like it's not acceptable for a team that wants to stay up to lose at home to Forest right now.
Absolutely,
so we have to.
I'd agree with that.
And then we also beat Palace at the weekend after a tight affair. You know, he came back raw. He had his good day against a rubbish Leicester side, got 30 shots or whatever. But at Ellen Road, it's not happening, and I think we beat them as well. Oh, yeah.
Wait for Europe, Joe. They beat everyone.
Get me in that race for Europe, man. I've told you.
Joe Wayman has just fired 2 bullets and killed me and D at the same time. Unbelievable.
I mean, look, this is what happens when we get rid of that Arsenal fraud, Vieira. You know, good football comes back. You know, whoa. You know, we got rid of that fraud, that passing about nonsense that you lot were doing with Wenger. And it's good times. I mean, we haven't had 30 shots all season. And, you know, Roy Hodgson goes back to the basics, plays football the right way, not the Arsenal way, and you get results. That's why Arsenal haven't won the Premier League since 2005. You know, this Arsenal way is a myth. But anyways, look.
He's back talking rubbish.
He's been writing all this down before he came on.
No, chatting. Look, Arsenal are doing well. They'll probably go win the league. But look, if you talk about Palace, should we talk about Palace Leicester? Or?
Let's do it, man. Well, we talked about Leicester and Ash is crying into his Kleenex, so let's not bring him up again too much.
Yeah, Palace. Look, I said it. I said on the last show as well. I said there's 2 sides of it. I know people wrote us off straight away as soon as Roy joined, and it doesn't mean we stayed up after 1 win, by the way. But there are 2 sides of it. There was a Roy Hodgson in 17-18 season, 18-19 season, where we was actually a threat and scoring goals. Ash knew that with, you know, we beat Leicester about 4-1. I think during Roy's time, we've had that in our locker. Towards the end of time, we had the aging squad, and it was negative football, negative tactic, negative football. But the question mark going into this game and just the next 9 games is we've got an improved squad. Are we still going to be negative, or is he going to go for it? And in this game, I don't think it was anything major tactically. It's just the fact that he just told the attacking players to go out on the pitch. And I think it's more man motivation more than tactics. We were just way more direct instead of passing about. We attacked Leicester out in wide area. We tried to put balls into the box. And I felt like throughout the 9 minutes, I think we deserved the win. I think we did deserve the win. We missed a few chances in the first half that we should have scored. But the main thing was
that, to be fair,
we create chances. We create chances, and And yeah, that's the Palace that you want to see. I think we've got the players to stay up. I think we've got the players to create chances and score goals. I'm not saying that we're going to have 30 shots every single game. It's not going to be as straightforward as that. That was his first game back. Wilf might be out for the rest of the season, which is quite big.
Wow.
We'll see what happens with that.
Is it that bad?
Well,
Yeah, he pulled up, didn't he?
he got a knock based on like he just dropped all of a sudden, and there was a report today saying he's going to have scans today to see where he's at. It's a groin injury. He did go to the AJ fight after the game, so it seemed like he can still walk. So I don't know. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. Hopefully it's something.
He'd have beaten AJ.
Out, but it's still not known yet. He could be out for 1 week, or he could be out for 4 weeks. But yeah, look, it's only one game, but it eases the pressure off the Leeds game now. That's what it does. I mean, before he got out injured, Wilf was fantastic. Eze was great. Elise, we had these attacking players that haven't really lived up to the expectations as of late, and they finally showed their worth, and that was the most important thing. I thought the good thing under Vieira was that we were solid defensively. Now the question mark was, how are we going to stay solid defensively and still attack? I think we've done a decent job against Leicester. I mean, apart from the one, that shot, that was a fantastic shot that went in. I don't think Leicester created that many chances. I thought it was relatively comfortable for our defense for the majority. So that was the main positive. But I was actually very surprised as well with Leicester. I genuinely was. You got some quality players there, but I didn't expect you to be that bad as well. I mean, you had to get rid of Rodgers. I said it as well, Ash.
He was done.
In our chat, you had to, because it was genuinely pathetic. For the players that's on the pitch, just the basics that were just all over the place. He clearly lost the dressing room. But for Palace, happy last-minute winner. Jordan Ayew getting assists. Mateta scoring a goal. Roy Hodgson as a manager. I mean, who expected that? Who expected that about a few weeks ago? Mateta never scores a goal. Ayew never gets an assist. Roy Hodgson is back at Palace. But it worked out. It worked out. 1 cup final done. 9 more to go. That's how we see it. And hopefully we don't get complacent.
Yeah, man, it's 9 cup finals for us. I'll tell you that, definitely. Ash, one thing I didn't ask you, man. Well, two things. Do you think Leicester have a better chance of staying up without Rodgers now? And do you think who do you think might go down then if Leicester will be safe?
If we'll be safe, I do think we've got a better chance now, because I think the players will start playing again. And this is not me standing here saying that we're gonna stay up. This is me saying I think we've got a better chance. I think we were gone if we kept Rodgers. We're playing out from the back, boring football, inviting pressure on all the time, lost the dressing room. You could go on forever. But who do I think is going to go down? I think I agree with you on Southampton and Bournemouth. I think they haven't got enough to stay. I don't. Even we went to Southampton and we lost 1-0, but we absolutely dominated them, and I don't think they're that great of an outfit. And obviously West Ham beat them, and they're not doing too great either. But
European giants.
Yeah. Do you know what? I think Wolves or Forest. I hate to say it, Dave. Like, if Leicester stay up, I think Wolves or Forest that will go, because Wolves sort of had a few games where they were looking lively again, but that seems to have been killed off, doesn't it?
Wolves have got no goal threat. No, honestly,
it's funny how little Dan's gone quiet all of a sudden. It's funny.
It's because he's become.
Heard the message that much. He's so obsessed with Palace all season long. He's gone quiet again. Not that I've said anything back to him, but that's the thing.
Over the weekend, he became my new adopted son. He was really sweet, actually.
But I'm just saying, it's just I think that pretty much sums up how Wolves fans think about the situation. We're talking about one of the most optimistic Wolves fans.
Let me put it like this: based on what I saw at the weekend, based on what I saw at the weekend, right? At the weekend, Forest, who've been shot shy themselves for certainly the last 6 weeks, had 17 shots to Wolves'. I think Wolves had 5 or 6. And even when Forest made a defensive substitution second half, this mythical XG that they all go on about went up. And really Wolves hit the bar with a header by Niakate, one of our guys, and then kind of got really quite okay. Pedent stuck it away well, but he got lucky and the ball bounced to him. Other than that, for all their possession, we looked at Wolves and thought, do they really look like scoring? No, not at all. And Wolves, I mean, they'll be, like I say, they'll be well happy with that point after losing 4-2 to Leeds. But Wolves have got a problem in that, Jimenez isn't the same player since the poor lad had a bang on the head. Diego Costa, I mean, that was like bringing a sideboard out. It was useless. You know what I mean? they've got nobody who can score a goal. I mean, Leeds have got Patrick Bamford who knows what he's doing. Rodrigo knows what he's doing. Palace have got Wilf and Eze, and obviously Matt Wilf might be up, but Mateta. For Palace to win in the way they did is a big thing for Palace. It doesn't matter how poor or otherwise Leicester were. If you score a winner late on in a game, and especially a bottom of the table 6-pointer like that, that gives you such a boost and such a platform for what you're going to do. So I think Palace going to Leeds, I think, based on all the logic and all the evidence in front of us at the moment, it's tougher for Leeds than Forest going to Leeds. And as Joe rightly says, for any of these teams at the bottom, really anybody losing to Nottingham Forest on their own ground, really that manager should be taking a really good look at himself. Do you know what I mean? Tomorrow, and I'm just not that I'm heaping pressure on Javier Gracia because he's a good manager and saying that. Really, Leeds have won already.
Not that I'm doing that, but I am.
Not that I'm doing that, but I am. It doesn't matter.
Well, you gentlemen know what a two-faced rat I am. Let's put it like that, right? But I mean, really, we're going tomorrow night. I'm going to sample the Leeds atmosphere, get some Yorkshire air down my lungs, and Leeds really should have a stroll tomorrow night. But
check out their vegan pasty, man.
Now the Arsenal one put me off, Dan.
Do you know what I could see happening? Like if Leeds do win comfortably, your man sacks Cooper, and then that's yours done.
Yeah.
If he sacks Cooper, Cooper, they're good done. I think.
Joe, if he sacks,
we will beat them, mate. Come on, man, D. Don't worry about it. It's going to happen.
Besides the relegation zone, you are confident.
Yeah. When we lose tomorrow night comfortably to Leeds United, having lost to Leeds United, Cooper will probably be sacked, and then there'll be no problem about us staying up or going. We'll be going down. And I'll tell you what will happen as well. A large proportion of the fan base will be lost as well, and that there'll be a lot of fractured relationships. And I think 9 games to go with a new guy coming in, a stopgap, whoever, it's going to be impossible. And I think, my view, the thing is, there's no sentiment in football. And Mr. Marinakis, because he's put so much investment into the club, has every right to completely ignore sentimental fools like me and make his own decision, right? If he sacks Steve when we've lost tomorrow night, right? Let's just get that there. When we've lost and he sacks Cooper, then I've got no say in the matter. I can't worry about stuff I can't influence. We did influence at Leicester back early in the season when we kept him,
Dave, to the end of the season, man. Surely.
I think so, Dan. That's the right thing to do. But you know what? There have been 12 managers sacked, I think, this season.
Yeah.
Steve, actually, in the bottom half, I think, is the only one who survived thus far, and he came really close after that thumping at Leicester.
And David Moyes as well, but he's a legend. He's a legend.
Isn't Eric Ten Hag the 6th longest serving manager already? In the Premier League? It's mad.
He hasn't even been a full season yet.
I know. It's mad.
Mate, we've got an old.
You're after Vieira. I don't know if you've heard about that, Joe, but Vieira's interested in you lot.
No, yeah, I think you mentioned it. Yeah, some people sent it my way. Apparently, he wanted to
when he was at Palace, when he was at Marsh, yeah, that's it. When Deshaun Marsh got sacked, apparently he didn't apply for it, but he was seriously interested in applying for the job. Like he was on the verge of it. So he really wants the Leeds job. So you never know. You might get Patrick Vieira and get relegated like that.
I do think though Gracia is a better manager than a lot of people give him credit for. Unfortunately for Gracia,
100%.
Yeah, unfortunately for Gracia, he went to Watford where even if he actually did really quite well at Watford.
Yeah.
And then he got
FA Cup final,
Watford. Yeah. So I tell you what, in all seriousness, tomorrow night I think tomorrow night is harder than what we've got when we go to Villa Park on Saturday, because Villa are kind of on the beach, aren't they, really? But tomorrow night,
they're fighting for Europe now.
They're fighting for Europe now.
If they get a win, they could go above Brighton. Brighton if they get a win. Well,
These come on, go above Brighton.
No, and I'm done with Brighton. But guess what, Graham Potter? You can.
Yeah, I seen that as well, D. I seen you twerking for Potter on Twitter. I did the same.
I'll talk for Graham Potter. I can admit that. He ain't no Patrick Vieira. He's a proper manager. So
Yeah,
I could. No, I'm not gonna say Vieira like this. I miss Vieira. I did miss him. I'm still surprised he hasn't said a goodbye to Palace fans or to this team. And funny enough, that when he left, the only player that actually came out publicly to say his goodbyes was Lukonga. No one else did, which might send a message in itself.
Like Ricardo Pereira at Leicester.
Yeah,
It's the same for Jesse, you know. It was the same for Jesse. No one came out and thanked him.
Did you
No.
not,
Yeah,
Joe?
yeah.
I thought you did.
Mate, he just tweeted out the other day, man. He just tweeted out saying, after giving it some time, I want to thank everyone. And I didn't even go near that, man. I was dying to say that.
He was thinking about it. It took about 3 months to think about whether to say thank you to the fans or not. But-
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
Nah, but look, in honesty, I think tomorrow is a massive game. But I think Leeds should stay up. I do rate Garcia. And when you look at your fixture list, in honesty, I know you're saying that you'll beat us. I would be happy with draw. Like, that's the mentality. that
Yeah,
I'm going
no,
to Leeds
yeah,
game
yeah.
with. I'll be
Yeah,
happy
yeah.
with draw. It's away from
Same.
home. But I think we'll be difficult to beat, though. I don't think we'll be as comfortable as you think. Not that we're going to score 30, have 30 shots. I was about to score 30 goals. No, not that we're going to have 30
No, I
shots
don't
in
think it'll be
target.
comfortable against Palace. I don't. I think it'll be
I
very.
think our defense should be able to cause troubles. And it's, funny.
Tomorrow's
in a funny
comfortable,
way,
though.
Yeah, huh? What was that?
Tomorrow's the comfortable one. Tomorrow's the comfortable
You
one.
better not lose. I'm not even a
I
Forest
know,
fan.
mate. Trust me. I know.
If you lose, then you're getting cooked. You're getting cooked. 'Cause if you lose against Forest, I mean, their side that it's harder to actually not beat away from.
This is a good point. This is a good
struggle.
point. Leeds beat Forest, Palace, and Leicester at home, man. That could keep them safe, man. That's 3 massive
And Liverpool.
games.
Stick Liverpool in there.
Yeah,
as well.
throw
They're
Liverpool
really-
Yeah, they're awful.
Yeah, like, look, I can't speak. Oh, we got them next, so I'm not going to go.
I was waiting to see what you say. Well,
It's at
Potts,
Anfield
excited
as
about the
well,
game?
so
Are you excited about the game, Potts?
I'm excited
not
about
ready
it.
for
But I'm hoping I'm still going to be excited about it. But yeah, we should beat them. They look dreadful, but it's just Anfield.
Yeah.
Dreadful, yeah.
It's
Okay,
the
alright.
in Anfield
the
factor,
fifth-
man. They can always do something against us. But
Fifth
listen,
of
I'm not
30.
talking
I'll
Arsenal
flip
on this show.
I'll
Let's
flip
wrap
that
up. Let's wrap
Alright,
up.
cool.
Let's wrap up. I want to ask a question before we go, and it is not what you think it's going to be. So there is some managers out there at the moment. General footballing question. Ash, we'll start with you, then we'll go around.
Yep.
In your honest opinion, who is going to be the next manager at Leicester,
Yep.
Chelsea,
Yep.
and Tottenham? Because
Right.
they're 3 clubs at the moment that are all looking at different places. So I'm going to ask everyone, who do you honestly think will be the next Spurs manager, Chelsea manager, and Leicester manager, mate?
I honestly think Spurs are going to get Rodgers. I do.
It's interesting. I was with Kev last night. Kevin
I do.
Campbell said to me he reckons it will be Rodgers to Spurs. Yeah.
I do.
Wow.
I think we'll end up with Rafa Benitez. And Chelsea, isn't it? It's an hard one with Chelsea, isn't it? It's a hard one. I couldn't put a name on a manager that Chelsea are going to go for. Genuinely, it's a really tough one. If I said a name, I think I'd be pulling it out of the air because I know the link to the German coach.
Nagelsmann and
Yeah,
Pochettino.
Yeah, Poch. Yeah, Poch. That could be a wise move, but the thing that worries me with Chelsea is that they're sacking managers thick and fast, aren't they? So who's going to want to go there? Because it's not. Like I seen a comment on Twitter earlier, basically saying it's being run like an American sports club now, and that actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Throwing money around and just
Horrendous,
getting
man.
rid of everything in the way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's really bad, man. Like really bad. I can't even lie.
Probably Poch. Yeah, I'll end it with that.
Yeah, I mean, like Luis Enrique, Poch, and Nagelsmann were the ones being spoken about. I mean, personally, I've always said Pochettino will go back to Spurs when Conte goes, and I stand by that. I just think they'll get him back and realise that they shouldn't have let him go. Nagelsmann will probably go to Chelsea because they now have to get a project manager. They can't not because of the way they've built it. They can't just get a Conte in now because he's not going to win anything now with that team. And I think with Leicester, I'm going to stick with you, and I'm going to say Rafa is going to come in and keep you safe. That's what I think. Dave, what do you think, man?
Rafa for Leicester, I think. Nagelsmann for Chelsea, and I think Donald Trump will get the Tottenham Hotspur job.
Oh, that's class.
I think he's absolutely perfect for Tottenham. Having watched them tonight at Everton, I think Donald Trump is the absolute ideal candidate for Tottenham Hotspur. He's got that drive, he's got that determination, he's got that ego, he's got all the class as a human being that Tottenham Hotspur desire, and I think he's a perfect fit for them.
I love that, man. I can't even lie. That was so unexpected in this.
Actually,
club.
and being serious, I can't see who's going to go to Tottenham. If you're going to Tottenham, then you're kind of sacrificing your career because you're not going to get any trophies, because that is a
Vieira.
I mean, really,
Never.
I because I'm a lot older than you lads again, and I keep coming back to it. I remember the Tottenham of Dave Mackay, and I've read stories about Danny Blanchflower, Bobby Smith, Les Dyson, Terry Dyson, Les Allen, Jimmy Greaves. They had so many great players who were tough, hard players. Graham Roberts, even people like that. You know what I mean? And I look at Tottenham tonight, and they are so flimsy. The two most overrated teams in the country by a mile are Tottenham and Liverpool. They're appalling. The pair of them. I actually think the 9 at the bottom, if the 9 at the bottom could have their choice of who to play in the running. And we actually go to Anfield, and I'd rather go to Anfield than go to Ellen Road tomorrow night. I'll tell you that. In all seriousness. So Tottenham Hotspur, I can't see any. Who would want that job? It's a nightmare. Pathetic. Give it to Trump.
Fair play, man. Love that. Joe, what are you saying?
Right, okay. Leicester will get Jesse Marsh.
He can't let it go, can he? He's got Marsh fever.
No, I think, trust me, he's a good talker. He can talk himself into a job, believe me. But I think just based on what Asher said, Rafa Benitez, I think Nagelsmann will go to Chelsea. I was listening to the Romano Here We Go podcast, and it seems like that's a goer. He mentioned Poch for Madrid as well, by the way, when Ancelotti goes to Brazil. So maybe that's one there. Spurs, I like Arne Slot at Feyenoord. Leeds United were linked to him, doing bits at Feyenoord, and I think
top of the Eredivisie.
Yeah, he's been mentioned sparingly for Spurs. So if they can't get Poch, if they can't get a Nagelsmann, maybe they stay in England though and get someone like Thomas Frank. You just never know, do you?
Yeah.
Leicester could go. If Leicester stay up till the end of the season without a new manager, I think they could get Thomas Frank.
Yeah.
I think he's the next one to maybe make that next step
He looks,
because he's a good manager.
mate, I've been so impressed with him, man. I can't even lie.
Good guy.
Brentford, wow, Brentford is crazy. I like that stat I put up the other day about how good they've been since Emery has taken over at Villa. He's put them 5th in the league by the form table.
Yeah.
Brentford were 4th. It was like Jesus Christ.
They're well
That
run
is
club.
funny.
mate. That's
De
what
Zerbi as well. Could
Yeah.
De Zerbi go to Spurs? Do you think?
Maybe next season. Maybe. Depends though. Like, honestly, would you? If you're a football man, I'm not saying this because I hate Tottenham. I do hate them, but I'm not saying it because of that. If you were De Zerbi, I'd stay at Brighton, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would. Like Tottenham is, it's a nice stadium, great training ground. Look at the state of them, man. Unless you're into Formula One and fancy going to a go-kart track, then just stay at Brighton, man. Like honestly, like it's embarrassing. It really is embarrassing, man. D, what are you saying, bro?
So Benitez for Leicester in the short term, anyways. Chelsea, I think it's going to be Nagelsmann. I think that's clear. Tottenham is interesting. I was thinking, what if Graham Potter goes there? What if he goes there in someone? Potentially. I don't know. Either Potter, they could go different. I think Tottenham's the hardest one. I think Chelsea is a bit more obvious for me than Tottenham. Yeah. They could go the Rodgers route, the Potter route. They could go abroad. You don't know what Lee is thinking, so it's a bit hard. But they might go for Potter. But yeah, look, if they don't go for Potter, then I would love him at Palace. I would. I think that'd be. Yeah,
I'd have him at Leeds as well.
By the way, you know Vieira. He was asked about the question. By the way, Potts, and he didn't ever deny it. When he was at Palace, I remember there was an interview for I can't remember. It was Sky. It was definitely Sky Sports, and it was at a training ground. I can remember the video specifically, and they asked him about would he ever manage Tottenham or something like that, and or would he play for them? And he gave a political answer. He didn't really answer.
He never would, man. He never would.
There's
no way.
Okay.
There's no way.
Sure.
There's no way. I don't know. I just don't think he would do that. But listen, George Graham, I never thought he'd go to Spurs, and he did. So it's one of those. Sol Campbell, yeah, exactly. But I don't know.
Imagine Vieira goes there, wins the league at the Emirates.
Hopefully he'll go there and he won't be able to get a shot on target, and he'll go 24 games without winning like he did with you, and that'd be great.
Yeah, that's the Arsenal way, ain't it? That's the Arsenal way, ain't it?
Hopefully that's what happens, and then Tottenham can win a relegation zone. That'd be beautiful. That's the way I see it. Listen, we're gonna leave it there. Big up Ash. It's tough for you to come on, man, but big up, bro. Big up Dave, big up Joe, big up D. Thanks for jumping on, brother. Tuesday night, we better get a prediction actually before we go, Joe. Go on, bro.
3-1. 3-1 lead.
Go on, Dave.
Leeds United 3, Nottingham Forest 7.
Can you imagine?
Do you remember that, Joseph?
Yes, I do, mate. I do not want to speak.
Prediction this week, it's Leeds 3, Forest 7, and on Saturday it's Aston Villa 5, Nottingham Forest 5.
Can you imagine? Mate, imagine scoring 12 goals in 2 games. You'd take that, wouldn't you? Listen, I fancy Leeds, I can't lie. I do fancy Leeds.
Everybody has to fancy
my
Leeds.
Man.
Yeah, I do fancy Leeds. Ash, who you got?
Villa tomorrow.
What you
King
going
Power.
for?
Well, we beat them 4-1 at their ground, so
Yeah.
so why
Under
why
Rodgers
not?
as well? Exactly.
And 4-1 again.
Probably. You know what? I think we'll get a draw. I think it'll be like 2-2. Exciting game. Bit more energy in the team. Fans get back behind us, and we move to Bournemouth at the weekend, and we're also at home too. So yeah.
I've gone for 1-1 in my predictions. I've got a midweek break, man. I'm not playing till the weekend.
Yeah.
We're
relaxed.
Are you the same?
Teams that's not. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're relaxed. We're both
nice.
Yeah.
We
you know
can
how it
chill,
goes. You know how it goes. Teams 12 and above.
Mate, I've just looked at your fixtures, man.
Enough all these small teams playing each other. And I'm trying.
D, you've got Leeds, Southampton, Everton, Wolves, West Ham. What a run that is for you, man. Every single game.
Have you seen our run before that? That's why Vieira got sacked. Have you seen our run before that? There's a reason why we've got
Joe,
all them teams.
Who did Palace play last game of the season in that big decider?
Is it you, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
No
Dave
way.
versus Dave. Dave D, Dozy, Beaky, Mick and Titch that afternoon at Selhurst Park, mate.
We've got Spurs, man, for God's sake, man.
You'll be all right, Joe.
We will, won't we? Yeah.
I just want to draw. I just take a game at a time. Just get a draw against Leeds, and I'll be happy with that. Minimum a draw, and then.
Ash, who you got last game?
West Ham at the King Power.
Lawless.
Send West Ham down.
Have you got Potsy?
Lawless down.
We got Wolves at home last game.
Wow.
So we're all in. Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
We've got Forest away, and I'm going to that, Dave. So it'd be nice to meet up with you, mate.
Oh yeah, you must come and see me down there.
I will do, man. Yeah, I'll come and see you and Dor, and then Wolves at home, and I hope that one of those games will be lifting the trophy. But
have you seen
the tickets?
I can't even think. Have you seen the ticket prices for? Was it?
Yeah, for Wolves.
Yeah.
Wow. 28
That'll
grand.
Be embarrassing if you don't win the league.
28,000.
Yeah, one of them's going for 28 grand.
28. Imagine you pay 28 grand to see your team be second in the Premier League. Oh my!
Imagine.
I might sell mine. I might sell mine for 30. Pay a bit of my mortgage off, and then just watch.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
At least you just cry at home instead of the Emirates.
None of that.
I'll tell you what. If they win it at Forest, he'll be in the river. I'll be chucking him off Trent Bridge.
I hate going to that ground, Dave. I can't lie to you, man. We never do well there, so I'm a bit nervy, man.
Oh, you lost an FA Cup there as well, not too long ago.
FA Cup
Yeah,
twice.
Even with Idris Elba there.
Well, let's see if they beat. Let's see if they beat Liverpool, City, and all the teams beforehand. Right now, by that time, they might even not. City might be top of the league.
I'm hoping teams like Leicester can do us a favour and take some points off City. You know what I'm saying? Because they always do well against City. That's what I'm saying. So let's see. Boys, always a pleasure. Make sure you go follow these guys, man. Make sure you go over to Back of the Nest. Make sure you go over to Just Joe. Make sure you follow Dave and Ash on socials. We'll see you next time. hopefully by then, Arsenal will have beaten Liverpool at Anfield, and I can sit in a nice podcast like I have most of the time this season. I can't lie, and smiled. So we'll leave it there. Take it easy, people. Smash a like on your way out. Help us get to 8K. Follow the man. Then we'll see you next time. Latest, people.
Peace.